Why are you wearing that?
Here's the deal, man.
What a weirdo.
This is my hot take, all right?
Saul isn't German, is it?
It's Scholl, okay? And that's German for a clod of earth, which is slang for farmer, apparently, in 17th century Bavarian German. Not the point. The point is, I'm wearing lederhosen because here's the deal, guys, is that we do not have enough lederhosen wearing opportunities in this country, all right?
Well, Niceville has 2 Oktoberfests.
Like I said, not enough. Hey, everybody, it's Christopher Saul.
And this is Paul.
Look at this. We're back from a little hiatus.
We are. I'm a little tanner, and you had a baby while I was gone. So.
Yeah, so kind of like, it was fun. It was good. My man, he's glowing.
I mean, I went to the Mediterranean for my anniversary, so.
Doing the opposite of glowing, which is not
your skin is practically clear because you're just not been in the sun for a while.
I'm a natural beauty. What can I say? Anyway, going over a lot of stuff as we enter the final stretch for the general election. No, we're not going to talk about the president or the senator or the congressman because, frankly, you can get all that information somewhere else and in detail.
And let's be honest, they don't really affect your life as much as media likes to tell us they do.
They don't. So we're going to cover something that actually does affect your life. Seven things real quickly.
The amendments.
6 amendments on the Florida Constitution are up for your vote this November 5th or earlier if you do early voting or mail-in ballot. And then one, of course, the Okaloosa County Referendum on property tax for certain businesses. Then we'll go and talk about this huge hurricane, Milton, that's about to hit Tampa.
Oh,
and,
good.
What we might see here locally in terms of people getting out, talking about the after effects of Helene, not really having anywhere to go.
Yeah.
Finally, somebody did some damage to the USS United States up in Philadelphia before it's due to come down here. Hopefully, they're not towing that puppy right now because mad choppy weather.
Yeah, don't bring the boat south right now. Just give it a week.
Yeah, give us like December, and then we'll go from there. So we'll go through all of the amendments, which I'm going to pull up right now on my phone, just so we can do them.
Are you and I just going to do a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
We can do it. I'm not going to get in the middle of the choosing of the things because the second I do it, it's going to be my head on a platter, and
that's fine.
Want to live. You can do thumbs up or thumbs down.
Okay.
Cool.
That'll be fun. I might do that.
And so,
for some of them.
So first one's first. Let's talk about the school district partisan elections amendment. So the first amendment on your ballot is going to discuss whether or not we're going to have an R or a D or trying to think of other L, Libertarian, G, Green Party.
Yeah.
For your school board elections. And so back in the 90s, we switched from having partisan school board elections, so Republicans, Democrats, to nonpartisan. And this constitutional amendment, which was initiated by the state legislature, would bring that back and allow people to put their party affiliations on there. So,
but they don't have to?
They have to register, so they can do no party affiliation into a independent party. That's an actual party. If you register as an independent, you're a member of the independent party. Just a heads up.
Trickeration.
Yeah, no, a little trickeration there, but so that is essentially what's going to happen if this thing passes. With all these amendments, you need 60% affirmative to pass it, and if you don't get it, then nothing changes.
Okay.
Rules make sense?
Yeah.
Maybe? All right. So,
and this is a statewide one.
So this would be statewide. So starting in 2025, which we don't have a school board vote then, but 2026, your school board representatives would be have a little R or a D next to their name. They'll have a primary. And I talked to a Republican Party official about this one, and one of the points that I hadn't really thought about is that this would move those nonpartisan elections from the primary being the decider all the time,
right,
to a general election where in November, if let's say you have 2 Republicans, or let's be realistic in Okaloosa County, 4 Republicans, and then 1 Democrat or 1 something else or 1 non-party, the winner of the Republican primary would go and take on the non-party or the Democrat or the Marxist or whoever.
The Marxist. I mean, I think it's an interesting. It's interesting to go back to what we used to have. If this passes, I'm not sure it means much for our county. Basically, for the jokes that you just made about all being red, but I think if you were secretly like a conservative kind of middle ground Democrat and you were closeting or acting like you were a Republican, and now you have to disclose that you're a Democrat, that might make it difficult to be elected.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely make people register more often. I think we're going to see more partisanship in the sense that you have an R or D next to your name, or you get to vote R or D. I believe a plurality of Okaloosa County residents are Republicans, but not a majority. There are, I think, 20 to 30% of people that are registered or non-party affiliated. See, I did it. Independent party, I'm watching you.
That's so that they don't get all the mailings and stuff.
Exactly. So, if you're looking into that's basically what's going to happen. It would happen in 2026. And
let's talk about the Amendment 2.
Oh, Amendment 2 is fun because it is the constitutional right to hunt and fish.
Woohoo!
Currently, there is no constitutional right to hunt and fish. And
then there should be. Maybe I'll give this one a thumbs up. Okay, so he's going neutral.
I'm going.
Why? I mean, why wouldn't we want this?
So my understanding.
What's the negative side? You play the negative side just for this one.
So my understanding of this amendment is that it's kind of like virtue signaling a little bit.
Okay.
So I talked to a Republican Party official, Precinct 33, Committeeman Mo Young, but I also talked to some other people on background that are a little more connected in Tallahassee. Yeah. And they said this is like hey, the state legislature, Governor DeSantis saying, we're big on guns. We want to support the right to have guns. And this would make sure that anything that would violate this right to hunt and fish, so gun control, something like that, would be able to be blocked in the future using this. Again, another legislator enacted amendment. All these ones that are enacted by the legislature are, of course, going to be more than likely backed by the Republican Party because they have a supermajority in both houses of the state legislature and the governorship.
All right. So I understand that, I guess, and the Democrats view it as like pushing the envelope too far towards the NRA side of things.
Maybe and maybe not. I have worked the phones, I've worked the emails to get the Democrats to come on and talk to me a little bit about this. And so I'm hoping that we will have an update to a story that we're going to release as we're recording this October 7th at 2:36. This evening we will have our kind of election stuff and we'll get an interview with the Democrats and be like, hey, what's up?
Okay.
And so we'll have something I think a little more concrete at that point.
Okay. Well, the next two are very controversial.
So the next two are very controversial, and they're both voter initiated. So the difference is there's two ways you can get an amendment change on the ballot. The legislature can say, hey, we want to put this on the ballot, vote for it, and then it'll go on there. The other one is you get a certain amount of signatures. It's a percentage of the total number of voters in the last general election, and you have to get a certain percentage of the voters in each congressionally represented district.
Gotcha.
So you can't just have everybody in South Florida say, we want to be out of Florida and then not have anything from North Florida.
Got it.
That's basically what that's intended to do. But so the next two are voter initiated. First one is recreational marijuana.
Puff, puff, give.
Yeah. So the sticky, icky is on the ballot. And it's to make it recreational. Of course, currently medical marijuana is a part of the reality of living in Florida right now.
Sure.
And the Republican Party is actually of Okaloosa County. Got to be specific because there's something I want to bring up here in a minute.
Yeah.
The GOP for Okaloosa County and the state GOP have said we do not want to have this for a specific reason. And then, of course, if you are getting any mailers like your boy is, they all say, hey, Donald Trump voted for or wants to vote for Amendment 3. So there's a split between kind of the national level party at some places and more of a local GOP.
So basically, like Trump's view is like, it should be recreational at a federal level, probably. If he had his way, maybe.
And the Okaloosa GOP, when they talked to me, they said they brought up Colorado as an example.
Yeah, well, Colorado's been a disaster with recreational marijuana.
And that's exactly what he pointed to. He said Colorado has allowed recreational weed, and what it's done is it's made the black market for weed even stronger because there are no taxes on it. So, kind of think of it as like bootleg whiskey. Nobody's paying taxes on bootleg whiskey, which makes it, of course, cheaper and therefore access to everybody, more people.
I have traveled to a few places that have decriminalized it and made recreational marijuana legal for all intents and purposes, and doesn't smell very nice in those places.
The interesting thing about this one, just kind of like from a personal level, Gadsden County Sheriff so just west of Tallahassee, has come out strong and in favor of this.
Yes.
And as you noted, or as I've noted, I've been talking to precinct committeeman
I've seen awkward videos of him for it. Yeah.
So not of Mo Young, of course, because our video is amazing.
No, not Mo Young videos, but of the sheriff.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what the name of the sheriff of Gadsden County is?
No.
It's Mo Young.
Oh, well, that's awkward.
Incredible. Yeah. So they're both named Mo Young. They're both named Mo Young. That's amazing.
Not related at all that we know of.
In no way are they related. But
one gentleman is African American and the other is Caucasian. They
could not look any more different.
Right.
But they both have the same name, and to me, that is kind of personally funny. Because they're both against it, and not anyway. The Republicans have come out in Okaloosa County against it. The Okaloosa Democrats have put out a short note to me saying that they are for it. And they are against the first two. I should note that as well. They're against Amendments 1 and 2. Amendment 4, abortion. Ready to make some people happy, some people angry, and almost nobody in between?
I mean, listen, so my opinion on this is a strong one that this is a really big overreach on the abortion laws and rules. So I would be voting heavy down on this one.
This one is really interesting for me from kind of like a reporting observer.
Yeah.
Because I look back to 2018 when we passed the where felons could restore their voting rights.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened immediately after that is that the state legislature, because this was a voter-initiated referendum, and this may happen with Amendment 3 as well, where the state legislator would have to come back and interpret what the ballot measure meant, because you can only have 100 words on a ballot measure.
Right.
So you can't say like, well, they can have an abortion up to 24 weeks unless you pass go and collect $200,
right,
or
right.
There's a like none of that.
So even if this passes, you know, the GOP would have an opportunity to weaken it, is what you're saying.
My gut says that if this were to pass, and again, it needs to get 60%. It's not first past the poll.
Yeah. The
state legislature, which has super majorities in both of Republicans in both houses, would probably work to limit this. When you see the commercials, you see a lot of this is going to go too far kind of stuff.
Yeah.
My understanding of the state GOP is that they would immediately pass legislation to change this, because that would be what they would have to do. The state legislature has to come in and pass stuff into law to put the framework, just like they did with voting rights.
Yeah.
And so I'm very interested to see if this does pass, how that's going to work out, the mechanics of it. Because it has like something like 57-58% support right now. It's very close.
Very close. Yeah. The interesting thing about this one, I mean, is because of the overturning of Roe versus Wade, this is exactly what is meant to happen. It's supposed to go back to the state level for discussions. And, you know, I hope personally that I live in a state that makes it very, very hard.
Yeah. And the state Supreme Court has, or not the state Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court said that in their ruling, right?
Yeah.
That this is to go back to the states.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing, I think we've had 4 or 5 referendums throughout the states. I know Kansas had one. I know Pennsylvania had one.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. Those have all failed, kept abortion laws at, I think, like 24 weeks, or some have changed. So what's going to happen? I don't know. It's going to be very close. And
interesting.
If you feel strongly about this, make sure
you're
the
one to get to the polls.
October the 7th, when we were recording this, is the last day to register to vote, by the way.
Well, you better hurry up and edit and get this out.
I need to edit this puppy and get it out before 7 p.m. Moving on to something that's probably...
These next few, we could probably go faster.
Amendment 5, Homestead Exemption, Inflation Amendment. So...
okay. I mean, I think the general, it would probably pass, because who wouldn't want a homestead exemption inflation amendment? You know, if you're a local official like Niceville City Council, or even at the county level, you very much know that this exemption is going to help homeowners, but it also makes you look like the bad guy when you have to raise everybody's taxes for services.
If I'm an elected official, I'm voting so hard against this.
Oh, of course.
Because what essentially is going to have to happen is, I mean, you got to make ends meet through the state or city or county government.
Right.
So that means, hey, we're going to raise your taxes, and you don't want to be the city council person that votes to raise taxes.
And the people that get killed the most are the ones that don't get the homestead exemption.
Yes. Yeah. And that is
double hit.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have a commercial property, you're going to feel it if this thing, if they raise
or multiple residential properties that you're renting out. Yeah.
So it is going to be, again, something to pay attention to. I imagine this one will pass.
I mean, one homeowner is going to vote against it.
It's going to be hard because, I mean, if you look on its face and you're not doing the deep-seated, like, and then this will happen, these third-order effects. So my guess is that this will pass probably overwhelmingly.
Yep.
That's the one I'm most sure about. And Republicans say that they are for the Homestead Exemption Inflation Amendment, and Democrats oppose it. And just so we know,
why?
The Republicans and the Democrats do not agree on any one of these. And I asked them independently. I didn't get them in a room together and go, okay, guys, what do you think?
I wonder if they're just being contrary on that.
I mean, there's evidence to support your argument. It's there.
All right, Amendment 6, campaign financing.
So Amendment 6, campaign financing amendment. So back in the day, the state allowed people that agreed to campaign spending limits only in statewide races. So governor, CFO, all that kind of stuff. They said, if you abide by these, the state government will pay for your campaign. The deal is that the money that they get from the state is way less than what it costs to run and win an election in Florida. And so this is pretty much an acknowledgement that the state paid campaigns to reduce the spending have completely failed.
Right.
And so what's again probably going to have
so this happen, repeals it, right?
This would repeal it if you vote yes.
Yes.
Like you want it gone. I don't know if this one will pass just because it's kind of a wonky piece of legislation.
It's complicated that only people who run campaigns would probably really understand it.
Yeah, and it's one of those that really doesn't affect anybody either way because nobody's taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
And so my guess is that
so if you want to follow your party lines, Republicans are for getting rid of it.
Yes.
So that would be a vote yes, and Democrats say no.
So if you're doing the RD thing, that's one way to do it. But ultimately, this is probably the least influential amendment on the ballot.
I mean, the next one's pretty weak too.
No, so the property tax exemption. This is going to Okaloosa County voters only. Okaloosa County has a referendum on the books that every 10 years has to be renewed. And the county has to basically ask voters, hey, if people promise to bring in new jobs to the county,
right, move their business here,
move their businesses, stuff like that, and have property, real property in the county, they will give them a tax exemption so long as they meet certain targets for the people that work at those businesses. So it's like the median wage in Okaloosa County plus 10%.
Yeah.
So the chances are they're going to meet this and they'll get an exemption that's for a very large company, not that much. They've given out $100,000 in the last 7 years.
Yeah, this one's a big nothing burger. I think we talked about this one on a previous podcast. So Republicans are for it and Democrats are against it.
So Republicans do not have an opinion on it. So they've submitted no opinion, and then Democrats are for it.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
I did not expect. But hey,
maybe when the Republicans come out for it, the Democrats will just flip to against it.
Anyway, those are all the amendments kind of in a nutshell. We're going to have more people, more experts, and more partisan people.
And you're going to have a really good article coming out tonight that will help people too. So
it is big. It's got multiple people, and we hope to add to it as election season draws to a close. Yep. So stay tuned for that. Next up on here for us is we're watching Hurricane Milton, but we're kind of watching it like you're watching it back at home.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be ugly, and I think that the knock-on effect for us is that, of course, we're going to have like the riptides and stuff, but I also think there's going to be a lot of people seeking shelter here because you can't go to Georgia right now.
Yeah, the trajectory of this storm is like a beeline right at Tampa with a slight like upward tick to the north at the time that we're recording this Monday afternoon. And I think it just got rated as a Cat 5. Mm-hmm. It's probably going to weaken, but maybe do like a Cat 4, maybe a Cat 3 when it hits landfall. But if it goes slightly north of Tampa, like it's going to fill Tampa Bay and beyond. Storm surge could be 12 to 20 feet, and that's just going to be disastrous.
It's going to be ugly. And I am seriously concerned about what that's going to mean for the state. I mean, we're just going to have so much devastation. We just had, Helene.
Yeah.
So emergency response. And then, I mean, as you look at it with this election coming up, I'm worried that people are not going to get the chance to vote because they're going to be too busy putting their lives back together.
Well, the good news, if there's any good news, is that the state of Florida has done a great job over the last few years in addressing natural disasters and getting on it. I think you definitely have to give our governor the props for that. So at a state level, we should be able to respond fairly quickly. But the federal level is dealing with a lot of challenges right now. I mean, FEMA has to deal with all the Helena stuff, and where Helena flooded everybody was across multiple states, and so there's going to be a lot of challenges there for sure. So our thoughts and prayers are with everybody, and definitely leave, please. No heroes in a 12 to 20 foot storm surge. So,
and then I know, for example, your daughter's up in Jacksonville, and I imagine things are going to take a northeast tack as it continues.
I mean, it's going to go through University of Florida. Will probably cancel school. Everybody in Jacksonville will cancel school. So I think all that stuff will happen, and you have low-lying areas that are going to get a lot of rain. I actually traveled a little bit this weekend and went through some of the areas that just got Helene wind damage, and just the number of trees and things that were down, all the way from Tallahassee all the way to Gainesville was pretty crazy. So,
last thing on our list, our newest ship that we're going to sink off in the Gulf, SS United States, suffered some burglary this weekend up in Philadelphia.
I saw this hit the national news like just barely, but it sounds like maybe they just took like batteries and tools and didn't actually like damage the ship itself. And we don't know the timeline for when we actually get that ship to arrive here, but I'm guessing they'll wait till after hurricane season.
I would hope. So. Please don't bring it now. Thanks.
Yeah.
And then I guess last thing, our good buddy John Solomon wrote an article that's going to debut here in the next couple hours as well, talking a little bit about a slight decrease in prices over the last year since last October
in home prices. Yeah.
In home prices.
Yep.
But not nearly to the extent that we've seen in the peninsula. And so if you're buying,
shout out to John at Salt and Light Realty. He did a really good analysis on kind of the price changes, and so you guys will get to see that in the article.
So stay tuned. We'll see you guys very soon. But until then, Paul, tell them.
Be nice, Niceville, and beat Mosley.